Hey everyone, welcome to the Inspired Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Greg Piskuzip, and I'm thrilled to have you here. I started my journey in a corporate world before moving into a business ownership and property investing. But what truly drives me is helping people unlock their full potential through the power of mindset. Whether you're here for practical strategies, mindset tips, or just looking for some inspiration, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Have you ever set a big goal only to feel discouraged or overwhelmed when you don't reach it? Sounds familiar. Why does that happen? It's not because you're not trying hard enough, it's because of the way your brain works. And in today's episode, I'm going to take you through the science behind setting and expectations, share real stories of people who struggled with unrealistic goals, and show you how you can set goals that work with your mind, body, rather than against them. And by the end of this episode, you will understand what happens in your brain when you set goals, why some expectations hold you back, and what can you do to avoid feeling stuck or frustrated. When you learn practical tips and hear stories that will help you create a goal-setting plan that truly works. So, first, we'll talk about why we set high expectations and how they affect us. Next, I'll tell you a few stories to highlight the common traps people fall into. Then we'll explore what's happening in the brain and how different chemicals can either help you or hurt your progress. So, finally, I'll share some easy to use tools. Then, let's start. Uh, let's start with the story about Sarah. Sarah is my friend. She started as an entrepreneur with it and set a huge goal to grow her business to six figures in 1 year. Despite working day and night, she was far from her target by the end of the year, and she felt like a failure. But the truth is, Sarah didn't fail because she didn't try hard enough. She failed because she set and expectations that were not in line with what was realistic in her for her business, at this stage where her business is. And why do we actually set the high expectations? Is it the external pressures? Is it the seeing other people achieving what we want, and so we think we should be able to do this too? Well, if other people achieve it, yes, we should be able to do it, but we need to look into what is real or realistic in our scenario. So, or do we want to just prove something to ourselves or others? That usually happens too. And all in all, all or nothing mindset as well that I see in some people is thinking that we have to achieve everything perfectly or nothing at all. And this is something that person is really dearest to me, because I know when she is going to set her goal is all or nothing, and it's devastating to see how she's struggling because she's not achieving those and that's the point, the little milestones, because they're not set in place. So let me tell you a story about signs you're setting yourself up for a failure. And I'm going to use John's story here for this. Is John is new to property investing, and he wanted to buy 5 rental properties in his first year, but soon find himself struggling to manage just one. He felt stress, overwhelmed, and like he failed. John's story shows how expectations can lead us to feel stuck or anxious because we are biting off more than we can actually chew. And what are the common signs for those realistic expectations? Is, yes, feeling overwhelmed is one, and anxious all the time because you're not there. You understand that you're missing some key information, skills, tools, team processes, and you can see how other people do this very easily, but not you. Uh, Two is very big one, is believing anything less than perfect is a failure. And I was actually a big prisoner of that mindset, because I believe that because it's not perfect, uh, it cannot be out there. I can't be sharing this with people because I'm not an expert, specialist, all-knowing, certified. Because I haven't had that training. If I only had this, then I will be happy. That was my mindset. That was the believing that I had. If I only had this, another training, another course, another certificate, someone else to pat me on my back to say, Greg, yes, you can do this now. No. And sticking to the rigid timelines and being unwilling to adjust when things go wrong. And the things will go wrong. They always do. And this is for reasons we have influence on and for the reasons we don't. So you need to expect unexpected, and something will go wrong. Because if we are set that this is going to flow just as you're in the flow in the morning working on it, it will not flow the same way for the rest of the project or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So if you have a rigid timeline and and you're not willing to adjust what's happening, then you're set for a failure. These signs don't just affect how you feel emotionally, they have a real impact on your brain. So let's dive into what happens in your brain when you set goals and why you sometimes feel stressed or motivated. Here we go. When you set a goal, different parts of your brain are involved, and prefrontal cortex is like your brain planning and decision making center. It helps you set the goals and figure out the steps to reach them. So, this is your almost like a creativity part of your brain, if we're going to simplify this. And the amygdala is like your emotional center. It's a deeper into your brain, and it reaches it reacts to feelings like like fear and excitement. When you set a high expectations, your amygdala can get triggered, making you feel anxious or stressed. So for example, now I'm super excited about telling you how to use this to your advantage, but my amygdala tells me, Greg, but you're not an expert. You are you haven't been going to a medical school. You don't know enough about amygdala and a prefrontal cortex. But actually I do, and I do know enough. But and that's how it works for you in that little in the little scenario. So, and there's also a dopamine chemical that makes you feel good when you achieve something, even if it's a small win. When you set goals, you can't reach. When you set the goals you can't reach, your brain doesn't release dopamine. Instead, it releases cortisol, a stress hormone that makes you feel down. So your prefrontal cortex will think about, this is an amazing idea. We're going to do it. And we're actually going to do it in X, Y, and Z. You take a notepad and you just go, go, go. Okay, fine. So this is what we're going to do. And actually, the first day of the action, and then you're like, your amygdala, oh, but what if this doesn't go? If this doesn't arrive on time? What if this happens? What if the government will change? What if the new budget will come and actually we're going to be screwed because of the amount of taxes we have to pay, and so on and so on and so on. And then it actually happens. You're on a day one, your amygdala is just quietened by the sheer force of, yes, it's all working, going together. Dopamine, the brain injects dopamine because you're over the first step, and it's working great. You're moving forward. And then what happens is you've come across a hurdle, and then you produce instead of dopamine, you produce cortisol. And then you feel like, oh, but what if this? Ah, that didn't arrive. God, we're not going to get there on time. And amygdala just only boost that emotional experience, and then you're in the trap. So this what happens to John when he set the goal of 5 properties. He prefer, his prefrontal cortex got really excited and started planning. But when things got tough, his amygdala kicked in, making him feel very nervous and anxious. And instead of feeling motivated, he felt like giving up. So let me give you a first practical tip. Understanding how these parts of your brain work together can help you set goals that keep your mind balanced and your body motivated. And there is no secret to it. You can watch hundreds and thousands of different motivational videos, but the message is still the same. It's mindset, positivity. It's easy to say, but when you actually understand what triggers what is the first and then second and what follows, you're not going to go into that trap of one, setting the other things in a chain of event. You will understand how to break the chain and how to actually restart your motivation. Simple as that. And I'll share more tips. Stay tuned. So let me tell you a story about David. David is a young professional and wanted to save 50,000 in 2 years. He was so focused on his goal that he cut out all non-essential spending. And when I say non-essential spending, like there was no biscuits, there was just no beer. But it left him feeling miserable. After talking about it, he broke the goal down into smaller steps and allowed himself 3 years instead of 2. This made his goal feel manageable, and he felt good about it, making a steady progress. And there's a lot of training courses which I've been to, and for example, there's one very, very popular and famous is achieve 50,000 income and 1 million property portfolio within 12 months. And great training, absolutely amazing, by Simon Zucci. You're a good guy, buddy. And when I started, it was super overwhelming. Some people with different background, different abilities, they've smashed it. No, I didn't. I didn't in my first year. But actually, it all started happening in a second year for me. And I've learned recently that that same training is now being spread across 2 years. I wonder why. I wonder if their succession rate for the students was taking longer and actually was happening in a second year rather than within 12 months. So how interesting this is, So it's not only you, but also people who teach this on an everyday. They learn. They learn from their own experience by making content more manageable for you, for other people as well. And that's what happens to David. Instead of saying I want to save 50,000, you say I want to save 500 this month. This gives your brain a small win, and it keeps dopamine level high. So picture yourself achieving your small goal. Your brain starts to believe it's possible, and this helps your prefrontal cortex get more engaged. It's okay to change your goal as you go. Set checkpoints to see if you need to adjust your expectation based on your progress. Oh, sorry. It's the weather is just going up and down. You're cold and hot, and I felt a little bit under the weather recently. But this doesn't stop me again. Despite how I feel, maybe not 100%, I am still feeding the right dog or animal or something. There's a saying. If you know, put it in the comment. So although I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, I'm still want to do my podcast. I still want to be here for you, and I know which animal I'm going to feed. I'm going to feed my dopamine. I'm going to do it, and I'm here. But there's another story I want to share with you, and this is about the business owner I know. Expanded too quickly, and his employees were burned out, and he realized that his expectations were too high. Instead of pushing harder, he asked his team what they felt was reasonable and adjusted his plan. By giving himself and his team a room to breathe, they not only met their goal, but also worked better together. And sometimes we think, as a business owners, as a team leaders, as a supervisors, as parents, that's a good one, as parents, we think something is good for the other person, for the other team, for the people, for the business. And why don't we check with them? I know this your business, your idea. No one is going to work harder, think about your business day and night, think about your, the wages, the bills, the payments, the mortgages, debts, same way as you. But sometimes when you set those goals or when you set those high expectations for the team, the family, the kids, whatever it is, have listen to their feedback. Just humor yourself and just try, and you will realize, because when you see the reaction, like, and you can absolutely hear fly going through your conference room or the call or Zoom call, whatever, silence or immediate feedback like, no, this is impossible, whatever. Just ask them to commit to whatever is reasonable, and just put this into your plan, because you can still achieve your plan. But then if you get them to contribute to your plan, and their commitment to whatever feels reasonable will be much better and achievable, because they will feel like they're a part of your plan. And it's not about how quickly you can reach your goal. It's about finding a piece that works for you. Celebrate small wins. That is most of the time an oversight from a lot of people, and especially a lot of super motivated people, because prefrontal cortex is just go go go, get do, and we forget about. So we're only thinking about the next step. It has been achieved. Are we there? What else we're gonna do? But we're not celebrating. Oh, I actually have done this. So what I'm doing for me is I'm using a project management tool for my business weekly, and I write everything, literally everything. We've got in our business training, we have something that is called, Sunday Sanity. And this sanity is Sunday morning, we are committing to the plan for our next week. And in my plan, I've got the priority hierarchy, where different priority means different time scale I have to complete these tasks. So, for example, if something is critical, it has to be done today. Has to be action today. If there's a high priority, I've got 24 hours. If there is a medium priority, I've got 3 days. Low priority, 7 days. And that's it. It's very simple. Everyone in the business understands what it means. Everyone, in my team, my assistant and virtual assistant, they know what this means, and we can help each other. And that helps immensely, because I'm sometimes I'm running like a speed train, and I forget about achieving those little things. But by going onto my management system, I can actually, when I click done, I'm using Monday.com. When I click done, there's like a little celebration comes up, and it's crazy, but it gives me that positive feel, like, oh, I've actually achieved it, and it's done, and that's it. It disappears from my list, because once I've pressed and I've completed the task, it disappears from my view. So, and again, this is it. I actually set up the board so all the achieved things disappear, and I'm already focused on the next item, next item, and next item. And I'm not celebrating the wins enough. But actually, I love this little green button when I press down, little balloons and things. There's no sound, but there's just an immediate gratification of me achieving it. And I go back and I'm like, so this was an absolutely mind-blowing and opening. So because my board is only tasks that are in progress, I've actually called it in progress view. When I go and click on show me a full list, the list is 5 times longer with 60%, 70% all completed and done. But I don't see this because I'm not focusing on done. I'm actually focusing on what to do. But I actually now go and just review how much I've done so I can feel really happy about that. Because each one of those points is an item I've set myself to do, but I'm not celebrating that I've actually completed it. So I encourage you to do something similar. Have a list and just review your progress and be happy about those small wins. And I just want to say, thank you for joining me today. If you want to learn more about how to set expectations that help you succeed, comment podcast, and I'll send you, link to the full episode, this episode, if you're watching this later. But I'm so grateful for you to joining me today. And if you have anything that you would like me to discuss next week or the following weeks, I'm actually tuning to do a full episode about habits. So this is a next episode for next week, how habits have influence on our mind and what happens in your brain when you set yourself for those habits. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you. I wish you all the best. See you next week and stay inspired. Enjoy your Sunday.